Hi everybody. If you're watching this video, it means that I have used the term annotated bibliography and you might be experiencing a little anxiety about what that term means. So in this video, I'd like to answer the question, what is an annotated bibliography? The short answer is an annotated bibliography is a tool that we use as academic writers to collect the information on the sources and texts that we are reading as we are developing a paper or some other kind of project. It is a document where we collect our information and notes on the sources that we are reading. This will become very important for the second half of our course when we actually will be writing a research-based paper, but I'm going to have us start practicing writing this kind of document because it's still a useful tool when we are reading and thinking through sources that we are eventually going to write about and use in a paper. So let's get a little more specific. An annotated bibliography comes from these two words, right? To annotate means to take notes on something, as you've already experienced when I've talked about active reading and annotating as you read. And bibliography is a list of sources or a list of books. So an annotated bibliography is simply a document that is a list of works or sources you are reading for a project with information and notes on those sources. More specifically, an annotated bibliography contains the documentation information, or the full citation, for each source, and then a summary of each source, as well as some kind of response or response to or evaluation of each source. An annotated bibliography actually helps us digest, reflect upon, analyze, and learn about our subject more thoroughly. So it's not simply a document that a professor might want to collect from you. The process of writing an annotated bibliography is actually a very important way to think about, chew on, and analyze the ideas that we are learning and reading about, which will then later help us write our paper. For more information on the different kinds of annotated bibliographies, you can look at Little Seagull Handbook section W16. And please note that different kinds of projects and papers and assignments might mean that an annotated bibliography will look slightly different or contain different pieces of information. And that will just depend on the kind of project you are doing. For my class and for this video, I'm talking about the sort of basic components of an annotated bibliography, which once you understand, that will enable you to develop annotated bibliography entries for any project down the road. So here are my guidelines. When you are writing an annotated bibliography or producing annotated bibliography entries in my class, here are the basic guidelines you should be aware of. You're going to format your document using MLA formatting guidelines. In this class, the documentation and formatting style we use is Modern Language Association, or MLA. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second. You're going to give your document a useful title, and then each source or reading that you are including in your annotated bibliography, each source entry will include the following: a complete MLA citation for the source. This would be the complete source information as you would include it on, say, a works cited page in a paper or an essay. So you have a complete MLA citation for the source, a paragraph summarizing the source, and then a paragraph responding to or evaluating the source. Again, depending on the assignment that you have. These will be the basic components. Note that all the sources on your annotated bibliography or in your annotated bibliography should be alphabetized. And I'm going to give you a template to use so you can easily check your formatting. And we're going to look at those templates, look at that template right now. It's what you will use at a basic level when you are developing an annotated bibliography or writing annotated bibliography entries as homework. And we will also see right now that the annotated bibliography, it's set up just a little differently from a regular essay or a paper. So we need to be mindful of those differences because I don't want you to get confused when you're formatting these documents. So let's take a quick look at these document templates. Now, when you're writing an annotated bibliography, you will look at this basic template that I have provided for you. It looks like this. And notice visually it shows you exactly what your document should look like if it is properly formatted according to MLA guidelines. Notice my text here that I have included is kind of just filler text, but if you read that filler text, it will actually summarize for you the basic guidelines for an annotated bibliography. So note when you are writing annotated bibliography entries, your document would look like this. Notice it has basic MLA document formatting for the margins, 1 inch, for double spacing, for a standard 12-point font. This is Times New Roman. And notice an annotated bibliography and entries for an annotated bibliography will have a title. And then you will have, for each source, the full MLA citation for the source, all of its information, properly formatted. And notice that will be indented this way. It's called hanging indentation or reverse indentation. So we can easily spot the source right there. And then it will be followed by a summary, a paragraph summarizing the source, and then a paragraph responding to or evaluating the source. And then after your first source, you will then have your second source, and you'll do the same thing with that. And I've only included 2 on here just to kind of show you what it would look like as you move from one source to the next in your bibliography. So whenever I ask you to write annotated bibliographies for a set of readings and later on in the semester when you are developing your own annotated bibliography for the second major essay, you will use this basic formatting guideline. Okay. Now notice that's the template for an annotated bibliography. There's also a template you can use, which I provided for you in the resources module, of an MLA template for a standard kind of essay or research-based paper. And so this shows you, once again, just visually what proper formatting would look like. Okay, and if you read through this template, again, this template is in the resources module. If you read through it, it will actually also explain to you in short form how to format your paper when it's an essay or a research-based paper or anything that's called an essay or a paper for this class. It will visually show it to you, but also the text will explain to you how to make it look this way. Finally, I do want to point out one major difference between how an annotated bibliography document looks or annotated bibliography entries look and how a regular essay or research paper would look in MLA. You'll notice they look almost exactly the same, right? But there is one major difference, and that is this. In an annotated bibliography, each source gets a full citation first, and then the summary and response, right? So we saw that. And that's because an annotated bibliography is really about collecting the readings and sources that you are learning from and that you might use for a research paper or for a bigger essay down the road. Notice when you do write the bigger essay, or when you're writing a paper, your source citations don't come in the body of your paper, right? They come on a works cited page, which comes at the end. And you might be familiar with this, I hope you are, from, say, high school writing. And then you'll notice also that in your research paper or in the essay that you are writing, that you are bringing source material into, you will not include summaries of all these sources on the works cited page. In this case, you would simply include the citation information for each of the sources you cited in your paper, alphabetized on this list. And then, of course, all of those sources appear on that works cited page because you have cited them in the body of your text. So, hopefully this video has been helpful getting you to understand what your annotated bibliography entries do, what they're for, why I'm having you do them, and then also how to format them correctly. And as always, don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions.